Good evening. We're going to get started and open up our regular board meeting for June 11th, 2013. And we will begin with the flag salute. Dr. Pash, would you do us the honor, please?
Please stand. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Lourdes Fleischer y estoy aquí para traducir. Si alguien necesita, estamos ahí atrás o puede pasar conmigo.
We also have headsets for the hearing impaired available, if anybody would like one of those or needs one of those. And we will begin our meeting with introductions, proclamations, presentations, and recognitions. Dr. Pash.
Thank you very much. Yesterday and today, over 400 secondary and 100 elementary teachers met for professional learning at La Colina Junior High School and Santa Barbara Junior High School. Their work was primarily on learning about how to design lessons and instructional units in the new Common Core state standards. Much of the time, the teachers spent working in grade level teams or content area teams, subject level teams at both schools. From my observations, what I am able to report to the board is that the teachers were engaged. They're clearly on task. It looked like a lot of learning was taking place. And one of probably the most important takeaways for me, other than the specific work obviously the teachers were doing, was our need to continue to facilitate these types of meetings within our district. It's very clear that the teachers appreciated, enjoyed being with each other, and that hadn't happened enough. And I heard that from many, many teachers, that how exciting it was to hear from other teachers from other schools, how much they were learning about what was happening. And so we hopefully will be able to facilitate that ongoing conversation, not only during this next school year, but in the years to come, because I believe that the idea of a professional learning community is probably the best way for teachers to really continue to improve their practice and thus improve the outcomes for our students. So I want to thank Dr. Bendrati and Mr. Emilio Handel, and I'm sure they would thank Carrie Martin and Maria Gamboa for their work, along with all of our principals in putting this together, as well as our teacher leaders who are involved in particularly at our secondary level and facilitating the work that occurred over these past 2 days. It was interesting because I've reported this informally, but I think it's important to note formally that the tone and tenor of the event I thought was really fantastic. People were relaxed. You know, I surmised it might be because they were tired after a long school year, but it was a great atmosphere. I have to comment publicly because I thought it was such a neat thing. During lunch today at La Colina, a couple of teachers were throwing the frisbee and the football around, and I really thought that teachers from different schools, they were not from the same school, I thought that was really a neat kind of thing that I would not normally see in an event like this. And it's that kind of interaction that I think that we as a district office, it's incumbent upon us to continue to facilitate so that teachers get to know each other, communicate with each other, allow themselves to be vulnerable so that they can learn from each other. And when that happens, I think great things happen for kids in Santa Barbara. So I think we're off to a good start, and I want to thank all of our teachers for their hard work these past 2 days. It was fun to watch. So I do also want to talk about a couple of other things. One is we start our Cert Training tomorrow, and Cert stands for Community Emergency Response Team Training, and with the assistance of UCSB, we'll have 2.5 days of training for over 45 staff members from almost every site. And in light of what has happened prior to my arrival and why I was here before, it happened just a couple of weeks ago, I think having really well trained emergency response team is essential, not just for the students in our schools, but for our community as well. Barbara Kiani has taken a leadership role in this effort. I want to thank her publicly for that, facilitating that and making it happen. They're going to learn about disaster preparedness, fire suppression, disaster medical operations, search and seizure, search and rescue, disaster psychology, which we think is important, and team organization. So we're looking forward to learning from our staff that attends. I also want to let the board know that recently our district was recognized by the California Association of Bilingual Educators. Not every district received this recognition, and we were recognized for our Seal of Biliteracy program, our Biliteracy Pathway Award. And I have to say that I was able to attend 2 of the senior awards ceremonies, and I think at one I counted almost 40 of our students earning the Biliterate Seal, which is just fantastic. What a great statement by our schools, and also a recognition by our students and families on what an important skill bilingualism is. And as I struggle to learn a second language and still speak my first language, English, I can really appreciate what these students have gone through in order to earn the seal on their diploma. And it was wonderful for our district to be recognized, but the reality is that it was really those 3 high schools that have done a tremendous job in making that happen. And we have one of our high school principals here, Sean Carey. So I want to thank you on behalf of all of your colleagues for making that happen for kids in our district. And the last thing I'll comment on is our graduation ceremonies. This past week we had over 1,500 seniors graduate from high schools, and I was able to attend the ceremony at Santa Barbara High School. And it was, I have to admit, one of the more powerful moments in all the high school graduations I've been to, including my own, because we had World War II veterans that were able to walk down the hill with the graduates of 2013. And as I shared with Mr. Becchio, the principal at Santa Barbara High School earlier today, actually, what was most impressive was clearly those veterans walking down the hill. But the students who were their escorts were just incredible gentlemen, how they got up, escorted the men and the daughter of one of the men. And the way that they handled themselves was just fantastic to see. And tonight, I'm very happy to point out, thanks again to Barbara Kiani, we have our current list, and it's going to go out to all of our media outlets of the colleges and universities our graduates for the class of 2013 will be attending. It's a bigger list. Barbara had a problem here because, well, she kind of ran out of space. And so we had to put them over on, we didn't want to not include all the universities they're attending. So we're either going to have smaller font, which I'm opposed to, or a bigger poster next year probably to include all of the additional colleges and universities. And again, congratulations to those graduates. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Cash. Board, comments or correspondence you'd like to share? All right, we were all very, very busy last week in very good ways. We don't have any announcement of closed session action, and I don't believe we have any public comment. So we will move to our consent agenda. Board, are there any items or agenda items that you'd like to pull from consent? Mr. Herron.
Yes, I'll have a minor change on the May 28th minutes, D2.
Okay.
I'll have a comment and a discussion on E9. I'd like to pull D16. Or is it D or E? E16 and E18. And I'll have a comment to make on E17.
All right, so just to be clear, a comment on E17 and E9, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you're pulling 16 and 18, correct?
Yes. And
then a
D2.
modification on E2. Any additional items? Okay, so how about if we approve the remainder of the consent agenda, take the comments and the modifications, and then get back to E16 and 18.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Paz. All those in favor say
Under
aye.
discussion?
Discussion, sorry.
Okay.
There you go.
On D9, I just take a personal privilege. That's contracts under 10,000. One of those is with the Assistance League, and it's a contract with the school district that they provide clothing at no charge to the school district. And in the last several years, they've closed over 1,000 students each year. And this is a complete sets of uniforms, not just one, but 2 or 3. It's complete sets of clothing from top to bottom, literally, and they just do a fantastic job. And so it's here hidden under nice little contract, but they do a tremendous job for our kids. And my wife's been in charge for a couple of years in the past, so I know how much effort they put into that. And as far as 17, I just want to thank Sean and her group for the efforts they went through the last couple of meetings to get this back to us, and I appreciate the work that you put into it.
All right, so we have a motion on the table. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items that were not pulled, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0.
Do you need a motion now to pass E9 and E17?
I'll make the motion.
All right.
Second?
Well, no, they passed. I just asked.
She had pulled it when we were,
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't ask them to be pulled.
she was hesitating on those ones and said, we'll deal with those in a second,
Then
so I just want to make sure they're in
That's
there.
okay. So this is a motion to approve items E9 and E17.
Yes.
And we have Ms. Parker, who made the motion, and Mr.
No,
Herron.
Mr. Herron made the
Oh,
motion and
sorry,
I'm
Mr.
seconding.
Herron made the motion. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, opposed, motion passes 5-0. And then you have a modification for D2, correct?
I think I do. You may want to check with Mr. Paz, Dr. Paz. But on C2 on those minutes, it says, motion made, Board Member Paz, to approve the priority list number 2 of Q 2010 bond fund projects with the 2 items on the list, Dos Pueblos, Centerville High School, removed for now. It was my understanding, thinking back on it, that we removed the amounts, but we didn't remove the 2 items from the list. So I'd like to add the words, if I can get a second, approve the priority list with the amounts for 2 items on the list to be removed for now. But the items itself were still a priority.
All right, so Mr. Herron made the motion and Dr. Bass seconded. Any discussion? Did you catch that?
So,
So,
May
can-
20th?
I'll-
Okay, are we talking, I'm sorry, are we talking about May 28th?
Yes.
Yes.
C2, and I don't see that.
I'm sorry, D2.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was D2, May 28th, the minutes for May 28th. And so the agenda item on the May 28th meetings were.
Was C2.
It was C2, okay.
And it was to approve,
No, it couldn't have been C2.
that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, here it is.
Are you, but maybe this, it's the May 7th, not the May 28th.
Oh,
That's what's going on.
May 7th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And Mr. Herron, if you wouldn't mind repeating what you said.
Just add 2 words after the word "the" in the first line, with the amounts for 2 items on the list. Then it goes, so, with the amounts for 2 items.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of approving the May 7th minutes, please say aye.
Aye. Just a question, is this the May 7th minutes only, or is this D2 with the
This
modifications?
is,
to-
D2 with
we are D2 with the modifications. D2 with the modifications.
I'll move that.
There we go. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Whew. Okay, I think we're
Gets
past
easier.
the first portion of consent. So now we're moving on to action agenda items. And first on our list, we have the addition of elementary lead library technician job description to the classified bargaining unit. Dr. Christensen.
Yes, good evening. The position of elementary lead library technician was a limited term position during the 2012-13 school year, and it was created to fill a void when the only certificated librarian was assigned to the elementary schools, and this individual retired in June of 2012. Currently, there are 2 incumbent lead library technicians in the position, and now we've determined that this is an essential position. We want to fly the position, and we have every confidence that the incumbents will apply, but we're going to have an open and fair recruitment.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Christensen. Board questions or comments? Ms. Parker?
I guess I do. One thing that I don't see on this is who's deciding what books are bought for the elementary libraries? I saw, I mean, I can see in the SBTA negotiations that there's a piece about helping with the master plan. But just in looking through this, I wasn't sure if they're working with principals to decide what, or if it's something that's done district-wide with these leads.
It's both. We're trying to coordinate all the purchases of books right now in accordance with what's being recommended by Common Core, but also librarians at each of the elementary sites. One of the responsibilities of these particular lead library technicians will be to coordinate, what types of books they're picking up, what types of books are being ordered, the replacements of old books, to try and standardize what types of books are being ordered and for what reason, for what grade level, because again, with the Common Core, kids are going to need to be exposed to different types of books. But our hope is with the district's library master plan, that can be outlined a little bit better, and our folks will be brought in the loop.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any additional questions or comments, board? All right, hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the elementary lead library technician job description and
Second.
Adding it to the classified bargaining unit.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Boss. Any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Next, we have approval of the tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association's Chapter 37. And that is
Dr. Christensen.
Dr. Christensen.
I'm pleased to announce that the tentative agreement was ratified today by the Chapter 37 of the California School Employees Association, and the wages that was ratified included that unit members shall receive a one-time off-schedule 2% bonus on the base salary payable on June 30th, 2013, and the other portion of the contract that was amended pertained to employees recommended for termination would go into a non-pay status.
Thank you, Dr. Christensen. Board, I don't, do we take comments and questions on this?
Sure.
Okay, comments and questions. No? Great.
I move that we approve the tentative agreement with, how do we say this? The California School Employees Association, Chapter 37, excuse me.
I'll second
Great. All those in favor say aye.
it.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Great. Next, we have the approval of the tentative agreement with the Santa Barbara Teachers Association, SBTA.
I'm also pleased to announce that the tentative agreement was approved on June 6th by the Santa Barbara Teachers Association, and similar to the CSEA members, a 2% bonus was approved. However, there are several additional contract changes. There are some new salary schedules for speech-language pathologists. There was also a significant language added about professional learning communities, the roles that people would play, as well as some stipends associated with those positions. Also added was a district library master plan stipend. We also addressed the voluntary nature of individuals on student study teams, and we also addressed some issues with the class size minimums. Those minimums are now removed so that we can continue to build very important programs in our schools.
Thank you, Dr. Christensen. Ms. Parker?
I'm so pleased that all of our bargaining units are coming together around this and that we're moving forward, and I'm thrilled at this agreement. One question I have is there's a big change in terms of PLCs and what each school will be doing for late start, early release. And I'm wondering, when will that be communicated to parents? Because I'll need to know urgently about changes in the school day.
Well, as soon as if it is approved by the board, our plan is to communicate that immediately.
And just to follow up on that, one of the concerns that I had, and it doesn't really lay it out for elementary, is it going to be a late start for elementary or an early release for elementary?
Early release.
So for sites that haven't done this on a regular basis in this particular format, there will be childcare available for students that need it after school, as there would be on any other day.
Yeah, we'll be working with the sites to determine how best to meet those needs.
Mr. Hearn?
Obviously, the legislature hasn't passed the budget yet. Where is the funding coming from this? It's fantastic. I'm very much in favor of it, and it is great for our employees. But I'm just curious, what is the source of funds?
We had one-time RDA money that came out. They released a cash disbursement out of the RDA. So it is one-time money, which fits perfectly to a one-time off-schedule bonus.
Thank you.
And I have a question. For the additional responsibilities that SBTA employees might take on, can one employee take on 2 of those responsibilities, like be a PLC leader and other, or is it one per?
That's a good question, because we talked about that quite a bit. To be a liaison, a PLC liaison, you have to be a PLC leader. So you would have both of those.
Both. Gotcha. Okay. Any additional questions? All right. I will take a motion.
I'll move to approve the tentative agreement with the Santa Barbara Teachers Association.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you to the teachers and the classified employees for all you do.
Yes.
All right, moving on, we have approval of agreement between Certificated Classified Contract Management and the Santa Barbara Unified School District. Dr. Christian.
And I'm also pleased to inform you that the non-represented employees will also receive a one-time off-schedule 2% bonus/COLA on the base salary payable in June 30th, 2013.
Great, thank you. Board, any questions? All right.
I'll move to approve the agreement between Certificated Classified Contract Management and the Santa Barbara Unified School District.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you to everybody. It's a different year this year. All right, next we're moving on to approval of resolution 2012/13-53 and the spending plan for the State Education Protection Account, EPA funds received in fiscal year 2012/13.
Thank you.
Ms.
Good evening. This item was brought to your board 2 meetings ago, I believe it was, with a draft of a resolution that we'd received from the County Education Office. And that draft of that resolution is to be used for the next year. And so what's before you tonight is a resolution approving the spending of the EPA money that we will get in this current year, 2012-13. So the resolution was pared down and the dates were changed, and so it was very specific to just this year. So we will be bringing another resolution when we bring the budget at the next meeting to approve the spending of the EPA funds in the following year. So we just asked for the board to approve the resolution in front of you to approve the spending for this year.
Great,
Is there
thank
any
you.
questions?
Mr. Hearn.
I like this resolution much better. I'll move a motion to approve the resolution 2012-13-55.
Thank you.
And I'll second it with just just pointing out that by year, you mean fiscal year 2012-13, and the money has not arrived for this year.
June 27th
even
is
though
what I
we're
hear.
at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Just because it seems crazy, but yeah. Okay, thank you.
It's good, though. It's before July 1st.
Hey, as long as you don't have to spend it before
No, we've already spent it.
You've already spent
We don't have it yet, but we've already.
And we
it.
spend it on the teacher's salary, so we'll
Okay.
just move it over to
And
that.
that's a
Okay,
requirement.
super, great.
This was part of Prop 30 and part of...
Absolutely.
The reason we were able to rescind the furloughs was we expected this money to come in.
Right.
That's correct.
And then just to be clear, the teacher's salary was that we actually were able to have a full academic year and not have to cut the school year.
That's
That it
exactly
wasn't
right.
just-
There's no additional money.
The benefit was to the students and
That's correct.
employing staff members for a full academic year. Okay. All right.
And we
Any-
got the 2 great days we just finished, Monday and
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yes, which are very important for
Very
everything
important.
that comes ahead of us.
Absolutely.
All right. Any additional comments or questions? All right, so we do have a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Great, thank you. And we are on our final action agenda item, which is student discipline cases.
In case number 12/13-24, I move to approve the findings and recommendations of the administrative hearing panel for a full expulsion for 1 school year.
Second? Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0.
In case 12/13-25, I move to approve the findings and recommendations of the hearing panel for a 1 school year full expulsion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. And we're moving on to our conference agenda item. We have the presentation of the District English Learner Advisory Committee, the DLAC Annual Report.
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Gloria Hernandez, and I am the co-president of the DLAC, and I am also the co-president of ELAC at my Harding School. So I'm gonna do this presentation in Spanish because this is the way I feel more comfortable, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. As you can, well, I don't know if you want me to read it, but as you can see, there is achievements that we have this year. High academic achievement for reclassified ELs, increased leadership opportunities for the parents of ELs, ELACs established at each school site, DLAC operating in compliance with state regulations, increased effectiveness of DLAC operations, and significant increases in the number and percentage of reclassified English learners. A third edition of ELAC resource manual made available for school sites, and annual English learners recognition ceremony highly successful, and restorative justice approach promises district-wide improvements to school discipline. Yes, so now I'm gonna look at my papers. So I'm gonna do in Spanish now. I'm trying to look at my notes. I'm sorry, but I'm really nervous in front of all of this very important people in here. Okay. Como ustedes saben, tenemos muchos antecedentes para asegurar que los padres de los alumnos aprendiendo inglés y los miembros de la comunidad participan en el desarrollo, aplicación y evaluación de los programas y servicios del distrito para los alumnos aprendiendo inglés.
As you know, I didn't catch all that. I was trying to get over here. Okay, perdón.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sí.
Okay.
Lo voy a estar deteniendo de vez en cuando, ¿ok?
Oh, okay. Bueno, lo que leí era lo que estábamos viendo en las slides para acá.
What I read is what we were looking at the slides. what I've just read in Spanish.
I'm just gonna go back a little bit and ask Mr. Bell, that it's the one that is being helping me out putting this report together. That I don't see that on the notes that I have. What? Oh, okay. So, viendo al PowerPoint que tenemos aquí, estamos hablando de los éxitos que hemos tenido este año.
Looking at the PowerPoint that we have here, we're looking at the achievements that we've had this year.
Entonces voy a empezar a leer y voy a tratar de hacer una pausa para darle tiempo al Señor.
I'm going to start reading. I'm going to take a little break to give him some time to interpret.
El rendimiento académico está aumentando para los alumnos reclasificados.
The achievement is increasing for reclassified students.
Aprendiendo inglés en todo el distrito.
They're learning English throughout the whole district.
Los resultados de los exámenes estatales más recientes.
The recent results of the state exams.
En la primavera del 2012.
In spring of 2012.
Indican que los alumnos aprendiendo inglés.
Show that students who are learning English.
Tuvieron mejores resultados.
Had better results.
En la porción de inglés, lenguaje de examen.
In the English section of the exam.
En los exámenes estándares de California.
And the state standard test of California.
El entrenamiento de liderazgo.
The training for leadership.
Para padres de alumnos aprendiendo inglés.
For those parents of students who are learning English.
Tanto a nivel escolar como de distrito.
At the school level and also at the district level.
Ha ampliado de forma significante.
Has grown in a significant way.
Durante el año escolar actual.
During this school year.
El distrito se ha asociado con la comunidad.
The district has associated itself with the community.
Condado.
With the county.
Estado.
With the state.
Y grupos nacionales.
And national groups.
Para aumentar la calidad de estos entrenamientos de liderazgo para padres.
To increase the quality of these leadership trainings for parents.
Y a esto quiero mencionar.
I want to talk about that. I want to mention that.
Que yo puedo decir que estoy muy orgullosa de haber participado en clases como Padres Adelante.
I can be very proud to say that I participated in classes like Padres Adelante.
Y apenas me gradué hace como 2 semanas.
And I just graduated about 2 weeks ago.
Tomé clases de Avance.
I took Avance classes.
Y también tuve la oportunidad de en el año pasado en diciembre.
And I also had the opportunity last year in December.
Recibir una invitación por parte del señor Bell para asistir a la conferencia en Santa Clara.
To receive an invitation from Mr. Bell to attend the conference in Santa Clara.
Aunque esta viaje era más para a nivel maestros profesionales.
Even though this was meant more for people that are at a level of being professionals or being teachers.
Pero puedo decir que como madre de familia aprendí muchas cosas.
But I can say as a mother, as a mom, I learned many things.
Y también he participado en los viajes a Sacramento.
I also went on a trip to Sacramento.
A un viaje de abogacía.
To advocate for a trip to advocate for the students.
Y aprendí mucho también por este programa fue por parte de MALDEF.
I also learned a lot. This program was through MALDEF.
Y como ustedes saben, MALDEF es una institución muy grande.
As you know, MALDEF is very big.
Y eso pues siento que la ayuda de parte de ellos y dando la oportunidad a los padres para ir a abogar por nuestros estudiantes es.
And I think that their help, MALDEF's helped, and the help in helping the parents to go speak up for their students.
Y eso nos da a nosotros como padres la oportunidad de abogar por nuestros hijos.
It gives us parents the opportunity to go speak up for our children, to back up our children.
El Comité Asesor de Aprendizajes de Inglés en el Distrito
The assessment committee for the district here of English learners
está en cumplimiento con todos los reglamentos estatales.
is in compliance with all the state regulations.
El DLAC ha aumentado la eficacia de su función de liderazgo con lo siguiente.
DLAC has increased its leadership role with the following.
Modificando sus estatutos,
Modifying its laws
para incluir plazos de 2 años
to include 2-year terms
en los puestos de sus representantes,
for its representatives,
aumentando el número de reuniones cada año
increasing the number of meetings every year
de 5 a 7,
from 5 meetings to 7 meetings.
Alargando la duración de las reuniones de DLAC,
Also making the meetings for DLAC a little longer,
a 2 horas.
to 2 hours.
Ambas medidas mejoraron la participación de los padres
Both of those things bettered the parent participation
en los procesos de toma de decisiones y fueron un resultado directo.
in the process of making decisions, and it was a direct result of that.
El resultado para las representantes de DLAC.
A result, something for the representatives of DLAC.
Aumentando de forma significante la comunicación
Increasing in a significant way the communication
entre DLAC,
between DLAC,
ILACs,
ELAC,
administradores escolares y el distrito.
school administrators, and also the district.
El número de alumnos reclasificados
The number of reclassified students
en todo el distrito escolar
in the entire school district
ha aumentado sustancialmente durante los últimos 2 años.
has increased substantially during the last 2 years.
Y puedo decir con mucho orgullo
I can say very proudly
que mi hija que está en 4º grado
that my daughter, who's in 4th grade,
abogué para que fuera reclasificada este año.
I pushed for her to be reclassified this year.
Durante el año escolar 2012-2013,
During the 2012-2013 school year,
933 alumnos aprendiendo inglés
933 English learner students
fueron elegibles para reclasificación.
were eligible for reclassification.
De este número,
Out of this number,
518 alumnos
518 students
fueron reclasificados,
were reclassified,
o el 56% de los alumnos elegibles.
being 56% of the eligible students to be reclassified.
El DLAC
DLAC
revisó con éxito y distribuyó a todas las escuelas del distrito
looked with a lot of success and distributed to all the schools in the district
la tercera edición del Manual de Recursos de ELAC.
the 3rd edition of the manual, the resource manual for ELAC.
Como muchos sabrán,
As many will know,
la ceremonia y celebración de reconocimiento
the award ceremony
a los alumnos aprendiendo inglés
for English learners
tuvo mucho éxito con asistencia de más de 200 personas de todas las escuelas del distrito.
was very successful with more than 200 people attending from all schools in the district.
Se aplaude al distrito por los pasos concretos que han dado este año
We applaud the district for the concrete steps it has taken this year
para reducir el número desproporcionado de alumnos latinos
to bring down the disproportionate number of Latino students
suspendidos de la escuela a través de la aplicación
who are suspended from school. ¿A través de la aplicación?
Del enfoque de a través de la aplicación del enfoque de intervención
Through focusing on on the plan of intervention,
justicia restaurativa,
restorative justice,
basada en la relación de Santa Bárbara Junior High School,
based on the relationship with Santa Barbara Junior High School.
el DLAC
DLAC
anticipa la aplicación
anticipates the application
en todo el distrito de este enfoque
of this type of focus throughout the whole district
disciplinario alternativo durante los próximos 2 años.
during the next 2 years to focus in on this alternative to discipline.
Ahora vamos a hablar de nuestras recomendaciones.
Now we're going to talk about what we recommend.
Do you wanna read that for me?
Yeah.
Please.
Is this?
Yeah,
The
please.
Common Core and English Language Development Standards call on all teachers to become facilitators of language and content learning for English learners. Number 2, the district to provide teachers with best practices professional development. Number 3, parent leaders to be involved with planning and implementation of the CCSS and ELD standards. Number 4, the district will regularly inform parents on the planning and implementation of the CCSS and ELD standards. Number 5, all school and district communications to be provided in Spanish and other home languages. Number 6, increase EL's participation and success in junior high electives and high school STEM courses to reflect percentages of ELs district-wide. The district to revise EL master plan to support the current needs of long-term English learners and significantly reduce the number of LTELs in the future. Number 8, formal language reclassification committees to be consistently organized and funded at each school site. Number 9, monitoring and accountability system for ELACs to be established by the district. Number 10, school sites to develop executive model of parent leadership for ELACs. Number 11, the single plan for student achievement for each school site to be translated in Spanish at a minimum and be made available to ELAC members. Number 12, parent communication centers with technical training for parents to be established at each school site.
Las cosas que leyó,
Ajá.
casi la mayoría está aquí, o sea que yo pienso que no necesito traducción al inglés.
Sí.
Ahora voy a repetir lo que el señor, lo que ustedes vieron en la presentación de PowerPoint, se los voy a yo
No.
a traducir en español.
Now we're going to repeat what you saw in the PowerPoint presentation. We're going to do it in Spanish. Entonces, ¿quiere que lo digan en inglés de vuelta?
No, porque ya
I'm
lo
asking,
coloqué.
should I say it in English again or
Ahí
not?
tienes most of it.
No. Look.
Las recomendaciones es que los maestros del distrito en todos los niveles acepten su nueva función indicada en los estándares estatales centrales comunes y los estándares estatales del desarrollo del lenguaje inglés como facilitadores del aprendizaje para los alumnos aprendiendo inglés, tanto en términos de su desarrollo lingüístico como su acceso y dominio de los estándares centrales comunes en todo el programa educativo. Que el distrito provea desarrollo profesional adecuado y continuado para todos los maestros del distrito para que puedan facilitar el aprendizaje con éxito de todos los alumnos aprendiendo inglés en todos los niveles y todas las áreas del contenido. Que los padres líderes, especialmente los responsables por el éxito de los alumnos aprendiendo inglés, participen en todas las fases de planificación del distrito para y aplicación de los estándares estatales centrales comunes y los estándares estatales del desarrollo del lenguaje de inglés. Que se mantengan informados a todos los padres de alumnos aprendiendo inglés sobre todas las fases de planificación del distrito para y aplicación de los estándares estatales centrales comunes y los estándares estatales del desarrollo del lenguaje inglés. que todas las comunicaciones entre escuelas y distrito, tanto oral como escritas, se provean en español y en otro idioma usado en el hogar cuando sea necesario. Que el número de alumnos aprendiendo inglés matriculados y complementado con éxito cursos avanzados de ciencias, tecnología, ingeniería y matemáticas se aumente a lo largo de los próximos 5 años para reflejar el porcentaje de alumnos aprendiendo inglés en el Condado Unificado de Santa Bárbara. Que el distrito desarrolle un plan que satisfaga completamente las necesidades de aprendizaje a largo plazo de los alumnos aprendiendo inglés en el distrito, con metas anuales medibles para la reducción en el número de alumnos aprendiendo inglés a largo plazo. Que se establezca un comité de reclasificación formado por 2 maestros de educación regular, un o una maestra o maestro de educación especial y un o una administradora escolar en cada una de las escuelas para controlar y supervisar la reclasificación apropiada de los alumnos aprendiendo inglés. Que el comité de reclasificación se reúna por lo menos una vez cada trimestre durante el año escolar, que el 100% de los alumnos aprendiendo inglés elegibles para reclasificación bajo la norma del consejo sean revisados anualmente por el comité de reclasificación de su escuela. Que los 3 puestos de maestros en el comité de reclasificación reciban un estipendio anual. No sé qué quiera decir eso. Ok. Anual conmensurable con lo que reciben los miembros con credenciales en los equipos de éxito de alumnos. Que dicho estipendio se financie con fondos de título 3 del distrito. Que el distrito establezca un sistema de control y responsabilidad para asegurar que los ILACs de las escuelas cumplan con los requisitos estatales. Que las escuelas se enfoquen en el desarrollo de comités ejecutivos ILAC formados por los padres líderes más eficientes de la escuela, que puedan trabajar en estrecha colaboración con administradores escolares en un puesto de asesoramiento sobre la aplicación y mejora continuada de estas proporciones relacionadas con las necesidades de los alumnos aprendiendo inglés. Que el plan singular para el rendimiento de los alumnos de cada escuela se traduzca y esté disponible a todos los padres, pero especialmente a los miembros del Comité Asesor de Aprendices de Inglés. Que para facilitar la comunicación entre padres, escuelas y el distrito, cada escuela debería establecer un centro de comunicación de padres con computadoras conectadas al Internet, que las escuelas o el distrito provean talleres continuados de tecnología para padres con enfoque en comunicación, hogar, escuela y usos educativos. Que el distrito refuerce más las asociaciones con negocios de la comunidad para proveer computadoras donadas o usadas, pero en buen estado a los padres para los padres que no tienen computadoras en sus casas.
Can I interrupt 1 second? Con su permiso. There was more detail given in Spanish. Hubo más detalles que oímos nosotros, los que damos español, en español que en inglés. Entonces, no sé si puede traducir algunos de los detalles que oímos o...
Sí, porque perdón por eso, pero fue lo que me di cuenta cuando yo estaba leyendo.
No, y
dije,
está bien, fueron detalles muy, ¿verdad?
Sí,
detalles buenos que teníamos que oír, pero no sé si todos entendieron los detalles.
Sí, yo entiendo y sí me gustaría.
We don't know whether everybody here understood the more detailed description of these that was given in Spanish.
Well, regardless of what we understood, the public is watching this and they won't understand. And so unless we had a document that was full, it would be great to have it interpreted.
Ok. Bueno, yo puedo, si es que el tiempo no lo permite, yo podría que el señor hiciera la traducción.
If time permits, I would ask this gentleman to do the interpreting.
Y si no es posible, yo podría obtener copias para ustedes, porque sí me gustaría que esto que fue más detallado todos ustedes lo tuvieran y lo entendieran.
If that's not possible, then I could get copies of this for you, because I would like for everyone to know the more detailed version of this.
Yes, that is possible,
claro.
sí es posible.
Sí, es posible, sí.
Oh, ok.
Sí.
Ok. So yo pienso que esta última parte de aquí,
I think this last
eso
section.
no fue cubierta.
Okay, I think we didn't cover the last section.
So ¿usted quiere que yo lo lea y usted va traduciendo?
Do you want me to read it and you interpret it for me?
No creo que lo tiene que leer. I don't think that it needs to be read, maybe just translated, because it's been said in Spanish. Ya lo dijo usted en español, entonces, if you could just translate what the details that she just gave, that would be great.
Okay, all right. That a committee for reclassification be established, made up of two teachers, two regular education teachers, a teacher from special ed, and a school administrator in each one of the schools to control and supervise the reclassification, the appropriate reclassification for the students who are learning English. That the committee for reclassification get together at least once every trimester during the school year, that 100% of those students who are learning English, who are eligible for reclassification under the rules of this committee, they be rechecked annually by the committee, by the reclassification committee of their school. Okay? That the 3 spots for teachers within the reclassification committee receive an annual stipend. Okay, according to what they do. Okay.
And to be funded by Title II.
Okay, and this the money for these stipends, or for this stipend to be funded by Title III monies from the district. Okay, that I don't have a number here. Okay. That the district establish a system of control and responsibility to make sure that the ELACs within the schools, okay, are complying with the state regulations. That the schools focus in on the development of these committees, or these executive committees for ELAC, made up of parents or of parent leaders, so that they be more efficient within the schools or within the schools. That these committees can work closely, okay, in collaboration with administrators, with school administrators, in an assessment position or an advisory position concerning the application and betterment, of continued betterment of these things related to the needs of those students learning English. That the single plan for student achievement in each one of the schools be translated, or be translated, and that it be available to all the parents, but especially, okay, to those members who are in the committee for assessment of these English learners. That in order to facilitate or to make the communication better between parents, between the school and the district, each school should establish a communication center for parents with computers connected to the internet, or that the schools or the district provide workshops for continuous learning and technology for the parents, with a focus on communication between the home and the school, and for educational purposes. That the district reinforce more or reinforce a little more the association that we have with businesses within the community to provide computers that are donated by these businesses, even though they may be used computers that may be in good shape, so that the parents can have those computers, and especially those parents that don't have computers in the home.
It's better?
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
gracias.
I want to thank you, and I also like to ask Mr. Bell if we can get a copy of this report in English to each of you, so you can have a better understanding of what we were trying to do.
Great.
I want to also thank you, Mr. Bell, Sal Guareña, Carlos Martinez, that they're, oh, Mr. Guareña is right there. So for helping me out, Mr. Handel and Mr. Bendrati that helped me out with some information to put this report together, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Gracias. Oh, and we have questions?
No,
Mr.
I
Heron?
believe that the entire document is on the agenda tonight, both in English and in Spanish. I'm reading it as you went along. So both
Okay.
English and Spanish of what you were reading is on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So then that's right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, any questions or comments? Ms. Parker?
I want to say thank you because I think you've done tremendous work, and it's making a huge difference to all of the students in all of the English learners in our schools. And what a dramatic difference we've seen as a board as this DLAC has developed over the past few years, and it just keeps getting better and stronger. I've been really impressed. Love your recommendations. I particularly like the idea of the technical centers at schools. I know that Mr. Heron here would say that our upper elementary have access through Computers for Families to getting computers at home, but every school has a school library that has computers as part of it, and they should be open as resources to parents for technical training. It's a place that you could go in and just check your kids' current, especially as EDU develops at certainly all of our secondary sites, but also at our elementary sites as that spreads. Just a great idea to have that as a place that parents can go and learn about it. One question that I had that might be for Mr. Handel, and one of their recommendations is talking about being part of the planning for the ELD Common Core transition. And I know that the state has adopted new ELD standards that align with the Common Core. For elementary, for many years now, there's been a dedicated 30 minutes of ELD time. And I guess my question is, do we know where we're going in the future as the Common Core comes in? Is that 30 minutes still there, or is that going to be delivered in some other way? Or do we know?
The 30 minutes is a compliance-based activity, if you will, that we engage in at sites. A best practice would be perhaps to move to the SIOP model, where there are language goals in every portion of the lesson throughout the day, so that teachers are focused on language development, whether they're in language arts time, social studies time, science time. It's throughout the day you have language goals placed into your lesson plans throughout the day. It appears from reading the new state ELD standards that's more of the model we're going to shift to have our learning goals placed in throughout the day. Dr. Drati and I have been discussing this because this is an issue that impacts not just elementary but secondary, because most of the time content teachers are only focused on content and not so much, we're shocking them right now with just introducing the literacy piece, but now we're also going to have to introduce the language development piece, and that's an internal discussion we're going to have, and I'm certain Dr. Cash will communicate to you what we're going to be thinking going forward, because it has a lot of impact on what we do with our courses and the placement of students going forward.
Well, I just want to be sure that as that goes forward, that parents are part of the conversation because it's going to be a big shift.
It's going to be a huge shift, and we want to make sure we keep all of our parents aware of what we're doing. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? I have a question, and I guess it's for Dr. Cash. The other two recommendations that were made is that we have an increase in the district communication that goes out that's bilingual. And so I actually would love to hear from the parents, and maybe they can recommend what exactly is not going out that's bilingual. Just because I thought that most of the district communication that was going out was bilingual. And then the second question I have is about the single site plan for student achievement, and whether that's a possibility for it to be bilingual. I thought it.
Yeah, I'm shocked that it's not translated into Spanish. I assumed it was, but who knows? We may not have it ever again.
That is true.
We'll find out in
yeah.
probably a couple of weeks. But whatever communication we have with parents should be in both languages. So we'll track down and find out what's not in Spanish.
Great. Thank you.
And make it so.
Thank you.
We won't just find out. We'll translate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Paz?
Yeah, I think maybe one of the things too is not just sort of whether it's in Spanish or not, or in English, or even if we get to a point in time where we have another language that meets that threshold. But I think it's also kind of communicating out to parents that these are the resources that are available to you in Spanish, and maybe that's a little bit to do with a lack of knowing what really is and is not available in Spanish. So I think that would be something to look at as well.
And I would also like to add that as we follow what's happening in the state and what's going to happen with categoricals, I know that DLAC and ELAC have been categoricals, but I think that there's been a strong kind of movement towards really helping student achievement, especially for English learners. And so I would love to see a way to continue the group and despite what the state decides to do, just make sure that we continue to work with parents, because we really have seen some great positive changes in our school district. So this is one of those things that we don't know what the state will do, but we know it's working here. And so I want to make sure that we continue to do that.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you. Gracias. All right. So we are done with our conference agenda item, but we do have items E16 and E18 on the consent to return to. And so the first is item E16, approval of resolution 2012/1354, authorizing leaseback process, adopting plans and specifications, and authorizing execution and delivery of so forth. Can I stop there? Item E16, it just keeps going. This is for Adelante Charter School, so I will say that.
Should
Mr.
I ask
Aaron? Yes,
my
please.
question?
Mhm.
I need an education, and I thought maybe this is a good time to do it. It looks to me like between the cover memo and the contract, or the resolution contract, there's like 3 different entities. We have an architect estimate, then we have a construction budget that's composed of 3 numbers, and then we have the GMS number.
Okay.
How do all 3 relate?
The budget is established first. The budget is what the architect typically designs to. He designs to the base amount of the budget, not including contingencies or escalation based on the dollar at the time he was given the assignment. So in other words, we're saying if I made an architectural assignment today like we would have, then that architect knows that that is my budget in dollars as of June 11, 2013. That's what they designed to. If construction costs go up while that design is in process, that's where the escalation part of the budget is covered. And you don't know everything about the project when you establish the budget till you get into design, and that's basically where the 10% contingency on the budget side of things comes into play. For the one budget that was higher than normal, I believe that was for Harding, At the time that budget was established, we didn't really know how far we were going to have to go in that restroom at Harding to do the renovation, how much we were going to have to move things due to accessibility issues and existing plumbing issues, and didn't really know how much work was going to be in there until we got the mechanical engineer involved, and the architect really had a chance to go in and analyze the requirement for handicapped stalls and handicapped access. When you're taking a restroom that's that old, bringing it up to today's codes, you know, you always like to estimate on the high side, and that's what we did, and that's what was in the document.
Okay.
The architects, oh, go ahead.
Okay, so the architect estimate on this one in front of us was 783.
Okay. The architect's estimate is basically his estimate based on what the design ended up being, and
Right.
typically his estimate is furnished by an outside estimator, professional.
But then the construction budget was 691. Do those two numbers relate to each other, or do you add up?
In the case of Adelante, the original construction budget, in the case of Adelante, we are over budget, to put it.
But I'm trying to find out what the relationship between 691, 783, and 812.
Okay. 691 was the original budget before the project had architectural assignment. That's what the architect was designing to. That was his goal. The estimate of 783, 699 is what the project ended up being in today's dollars based on the work required to get it through DSA. That estimate was provided by an outside estimator, a professional estimator who came in and gives the estimate.
But does that include the contingency and the escalation?
No, it does not.
Does not, okay. So really it's 783, and then in our terminology, there's another 78,000 for contingency.
Well, yeah.
And
well, but basically, we're using up our $69,106 contingency on design contingency at the beginning. Typically, we don't have to use the design contingency. It goes back into the pot.
Okay, and then it goes to 812. Does that include contingency in the actual GMS, 812,000? Does that include contingency or?
No, that does not include contingency.
So
That's what
really is 812 plus another 81?
Well, I always ask for a 10% contingency, so I have my office and my project managers have the authority to keep work going before we can bring a change order to you via a board brief, so we don't stop work and delay a contractor and then have to pay claims. And then once we hit 10%, we come back to you with a formal board approval. In the past, it's always been assumed there was a 10% contingency, but I like to, see the last year or so, I've been putting that in writing, just so there's no question, is what I'm asking the board to authorize us to do.
So we're authorizing 812,000 plus we're authorizing a 10% contingency?
Correct.
Plus we're authorizing a
No, that's
escalator factor possibly?
No, you're not authorizing any escalator factor at this point. You're authorizing the guaranteed maximum sum, which should be, the only thing that should be change orders on this project are discovery items. Anything that doesn't match in the plans and specifications, that's the contractor's responsibility. He's gone through and done a review of those plans for constructability, got his different subcontractors together to make sure everything fits right, and he's guaranteeing that sum other than items that he discovers. If we tear into a restroom wall and we find anything behind there that wasn't supposed to be torn out, that we were going to reuse, it's not in good shape, we have mold hidden behind a wall, we have something leaking, anything that we know, because we don't do destructive testing before we have the contractor go in there.
Just one other question. Does in this case, McGilvery, do they have access to the architect's estimate and our budget when they make their?
Only after they give us the guaranteed maximum sum.
So they don't know what you're shooting for?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's item E16. We can vote on that and then.
I'll move approval of E16 and E18.
Okay.
Second?
Any additional discussion?
Just happy to see E18 come in much lower than estimated.
I am too,
I'm
especially
just
when
happy to
we're
know
over on
that
one.
somebody, that was a conscious decision.
And hitting the same board meeting is even better.
Yeah.
It was second, yeah. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. So this brings us to the end of our agenda for the board meeting. Board, are there any agenda items that you would like to see, future agenda items you'd like to see? Mr. Herron?
At some point, I'd like to see, and I'm not sure in what format, whether it's a board brief or from Dr. Cash, or on the agenda, we have RDA money that we're spending. I would like to see a report on, number one, how much was it, how much have we spent, and what are the plans for the rest?
You'll
Yeah.
see that on the adopted budget.
Okay. It'll be on there specifically in layman's language?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, board? All right, Mr. Herron?
I'd like a report at some point on summer school.
Great.
I presume it's going to start, and I'm just curious in what format.
Great. And just so the board and the public knows what happens is we take these items, Dr. Cash and I have this long running list that the font keeps getting smaller, and we cross out what we've done, and then we know what we have left to do for the year. All right, well,
Can I ask a clarification? Would it be okay to do the summer school report at the end of the summer school so that we could report on what occurred, or would you like to know before it starts?
I'd like to know what's happening. So just, if you can just give us in one of your letters, just
Oh, sure.
an up-down, how many classes, how many people? Yeah.
so maybe a board brief, but then an actual report and an agenda item once we know what happened, how many took it, if we got feedback, if they're changing or doing a different site or whatever. All right. All right, so that brings us to our adjournment, and we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you.